Okay, so here we are with another episode of AD Travels and Food. Red Pill Travels and Food, whatever. So this first part, I'm going to go over something that was sent in by a viewer a while back. I don't think I ever really properly touched on it, but it goes, could you do a video on how to not be a beta provider while in a relationship slash married, or how to be an alpha in a relationship while providing for your wife and children? Now, this is one of those things that really is it. It's one of those things. Like I said, when you deal with a woman, man, like you will always have to constantly be aware of, like, when you give her a little bit something too extra, when you not give her something, like your woman is essentially your child, okay? Because it doesn't matter if you pick like the right one or not the right. Well, the not like you, if you just pick a whore and then she ends up becoming a whore, well, you kind of had that coming on yourself because she walked in the door, being like that. But if you pick like one who's like, legit decent, she meets the requirements of being the one. Well, you still have to maintain her. You still have to keep track of what you're doing, and the core of it is really simple, man. The core of it is this: you can very rarely openly, even if you truly feel like this, you can ever truly feel, let it be known that, like, you really love her, in a sense of she's like the source of your happiness, right? Because once she, like, and it never fails. I mean, look at any man who has children, right? Now, look at any man who is not with his children's mother, and look at any man who's left the family. Now, more times than not, if not every case, you will see the same consistent thing happening. The man who wants to see his kids, the man who wants to be in his kid's life, the woman don't have no respect for him. She could care less if he comes back around. Most cases, and not all cases. Now, in the other cases, let's say where the guy doesn't give a fuck about her. Oh, she can't wait. She'll hold her breath till he comes back. You see, this is how you got to play women. See, those guys are doing what they do without being aware of what's going on. You see, as a man, as long as you always carry yourself as your life can and will go on without her, even if you love her drastically or you don't love her, whatever the fuck, you always have to keep a part of you, like, within your character, like how you walk and talk, like you gonna go find something else. Like, you always have to keep that about you to keep her on her toes. Because the only time a woman acts right, like I say so many times before, the only time a woman acts right is when she's humbled. And when is she humbled? When she's not sure she can get enough attention out of you. So you always have to stay on top of that, man. So yeah, this is gonna be a more shorter video. This is at a park down. This is at the same park where I did the other request. So yeah, I'm walking up here. It's a nice area, man. It's a really nice area. But yeah, long story short, man, how do you deal with the woman and stay alpha? This is what you do. You make clear you got something else going on in your life. That's really it. I mean, you could be a nice guy around it and all other shit, but that's really it. Just make sure, just make it clear, like, you have your own source of happiness and you got some other shit going on in your life, and that's it, man. So yeah, that's it for me talking over it. So I'm gonna go into, like, requests now.
But it looks pretty fucking cool, so let's just go with it. So, okay, so can you hear me well? Am I good? Okay. So the first person, the first question was, here are my suggestions for speaking while walking around Prague. How are you deciding between staying in Prague for good or leaving, for example, to Japan? So, for that question, wait, let me reread it. How are you deciding between staying in Prague? Well, I think I went back in older videos where I personally did not really choose on, like, I initially came to Prague just to teach English, and like one thing really led to another. Now it's been almost 4 years, so I still don't really know the language that well, but I mean, I've gotten comfortable. So, but as far as Japan, it's actually funny that you bring that up because there was a part there earlier this year I was going to go to Japan to just, hang out, but there was a lot of stuff going on in the news about flights, coincidentally, that were going out of Ukraine headed towards Japan, They were being shot down because they were being confused for like military personnel or something. They was being confused. It was something to do with the military, and they kept shooting. And they shot down, I think, like 2 or 3 planes that were going from Ukraine to Japan. So I just pretty much said, fuck it. I'm not fucking with that shit. And then coronavirus happened. Like, that was at the same time I was working on opening an orphanage here and all that shit. Like, coronavirus happened. Everything just got fucked up, man. But yeah, so that's why I, personally, well, back to the original question, why I'm staying in Prague is, I'm comfortable here. Like, I generally know where I am most of the time. If not, like, I know the culture. I know what to expect from the people. So next question is, how are your views of your home country changed once you left? Pros, cons of living in a country where you're of a different race or culture. Okay, so first I'll answer the first part of this question. The views of my home country are this, man. Like, and I say this all the time to many people I know. The weaknesses of the main weakness of the U.S. is this: the entitlement and pretty much pick up and play of everything. Like, in the U.S., everything is like pretty much spoon-fed to you. Everybody speaks one language. Everybody uses one form of currency. So, like, I mean, I'm assuming you're from the U.S. now. So if you're in the U.S., like, you know how it is. You can be in New York City, hop in a car, drive for 14 hours in one direction, get out the car, still speak the same fluid language, and use the same form of currency. See, like, that's a a situation that's just not heard of, here in Europe. Like, you get in a car and you drive 5 hours one direction, at best in a lot of directions, from, most countries, and you're gonna have to speak a different language, or you're gonna be slightly fucked up. But now I will say this: a weakness of Europeans is communication, right? And the person holding the camera, like, she knows. I tell her all the time, like, Europeans, like, the weakness here, like, they don't communicate very well. Like, they will watch you go fuck something up, knowing that it was fucked up before, and they won't say a word. Like, their thing is, like, their weakness is communication, but their strength is, from what I've seen of the European culture, is like they're far more intelligent, like, on dealing with like many intricate matters. Whereas when I first came here, I was dumb as a box of rocks. Like, I didn't know how to do most shit. I was pretty much brought back down to being, a fucking 4-year-old child. So I had to learn how to move with these motherfuckers. And I'm still not the greatest, but I mean, I'm still here, and I know how to get my own shit, and I survived here. But okay. So the next request I have is I would like to know how an American can make a living in a city like Prague. How are the job opportunities over there? How do people over there view black people? So for the first part, I was expecting to read the last part. Just kind of like really caught me off guard. But how does American make a living in a city like Prague? Well, I'll be honest with you, man. Most Americans are going to be can only speak one language. So most Americans will usually find themselves teaching English in some kind of way or working in a call center. Most, I'm going to say most. Americans and people from the UK, most of them are going to find themselves doing that, because it's just the nature of the beast, man. You're in a country that is not, English is not the #1 language. So, I mean, and when you got to make deals, you got to speak their language. So if you don't know their language, you're going to have a select area to work at. So for, like I say, most people are going to become employed in some kind of way teaching English. Like, when I was living in Česká Lípa, it was nothing to go. Like I told you guys in videos a while back, when I was living in Česká Lípa, it was nothing for me to, like, meet people in a bar or something, and then I might buy one beer. Once they figure out I'm American and speak fluent English, they would just pay for all my beers the rest of the night to speak English to them, just so they could practice their English. Now, you're going to come into a lot of situations like, I like red, and then they smile. Like, it's just gonna happen, because, like, I'll do the same shit with Czech people. I'll try to practice my Czech, which will be horribly shitty, by the way. And it's just the nature of the game. But it's just the reality. Yeah, like I said. So to sum that up, most Americans are gonna find themselves either teaching English or working in a call center. That's the usual gist of it. So for the second part, how are the job opportunities over there? The job opportunities usually, I'll be honest with you, the job opportunities usually have a relatively higher turnover rate again, because of the nature of the beast. You're American, or you're away from home. You're in a new country. Your family's not here. You got to make a new friend system, and even then, let's say you work a job and the job fucks around and lays you off, or you hate the job, whatever. Like, you're more likely, like, on a much easier whim to be super fucked up to where you got to go home. So there's like, I'm not gonna lie, there is a much higher turnover rate for that fact. Because like, if you join like the Facebook groups of like expats living in Prague or Berlin, or expats living in Copenhagen, you'll see it all day long. There's always somebody selling all their shit because they got to go back home because they lost their job or whatever. You're definitely living a lot closer to the line of like always having to leave, is what I'm trying to say. So the job, but the job opportunities are good. They are good to great, but the problem is you're going to always have that high turnover. And the next problem with the high turnover is you're very rarely going to have people who've been in a job for like a really long time, that know what they're doing, who can like easily communicate to the whole staff. Because even let's say if you were a boss in a job, right, like a call center, which is where a lot of Americans will end up, in a call center, and there's going to be a high turnover rate. So you're a boss. Every month to 2 to 3 months, people are coming and going. You see, like, you can't really optimize the work environment, because as soon as one person gets good, they leave. You got to teach somebody else. They get good, they leave, and this is happening 2 or 3 times at a time. You see, so like that is another issue you'll have. You'll see if you ever try it out. But to answer your question, like on a direct level, the job opportunities, well, now it's coronavirus time, so like any extracurricular shit is pretty much thrown out the window. But before coronavirus time, and I'm sure after coronavirus is over, you're not going to have a problem finding a job, being a teacher, at least being a teacher working at a call center. You're not going to have a problem finding that. And that's pretty much said for, in most places around the world. Because we're lucky to have that English, that fluent English. And English is that international language. Like I said on that live stream, see, like, if you're from America, you can go, you're pretty much anywhere on the planet, and somebody's going to know how to speak some type of English there. But like now I said in that live stream, let's say the other way around. Let's say if somebody lives in Czech Republic and they're Czech and they only speak Czech, they can't just pick up and go to fucking, Kentucky and expect to walk down the street and hear somebody speak Czech. You see, like, and see that's a reality that I had no idea of before I started getting out and started to really see how shit really was. But for the last question, how do people over there view black people? It could be a bit awkward, and I'll tell you what, it was even awkward for me when I seen another black person when I was living in Chescalipa, because it's not common to see other black people here. So, and I'll tell you my story on it. When I seen another black guy in Chescalipa, I was eating sushi, alone, chilling, and he came in, and I couldn't stop staring at him, because I'm like, oh my God, it's a fucking black person. Like, I did this shit, okay? So, like, what I'm trying to get is this: you're gonna get stared at sometimes, but it's not out of like any type of anger or hate. It's more because like they're just not used to seeing black people. Like it's just the reality of it. So people don't mean any harm by it. Like, little kids, they'll stare at you the whole time on the tram, or they don't mean anything by it. They're just not used to seeing it. Okay, but and to go deeper on it, I've never had any issue because I was black. I've never had anybody, do anything that, crazy to me where I thought, oh, they did it because I was black, I mean, I joke around with people, say like, those motherfuckers are racist, but I'm strictly just playing. Like, honestly, I've never had, I mean, I don't know, somebody could have, like, went behind my back and said something, but as far as like me in person, I've never been afraid to walk down the street by myself, the darkest back corners, back alleys. I've never had, any kind of fear, not even to mention because I was black. Okay, it was never any issue. So yeah, so for the last, for another request, I just want a better view of the women. Make the comparison between American women and Czech Eastern European, or Czech European women, etc. Maybe talk about a few dating preference if you can. Find any that speaks understandable English, LOL. Okay, so I'll do that later. I'll start bringing in guests that speak English to speak with you guys, because I really want to do it in Ukraine, but I really wasn't on this going outside shit yet in Ukraine. But So with this topic, another thing that the American population has, and we have in our culture is we glorify not working. Like we glorify we glorify on a next level. Like if you could work the system, then you work the system, and and that's it. Whereas like the women over here, the people over here, they more value their work. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm sure some people don't want to go to work some days, but for the most part, like they more like they want to work. You see, and it's just a whole different culture because like they got relatively free health insurance. They don't have to spend they don't have to go $50,000 in debt to go to college like we do in the States. Like it's just a whole different mentality. But the core, like the difference between American people is more specifically the American woman and the European woman is this. Okay, another thing, the obesity rates, the diets. Like if you want to go from a physical standpoint, the diets, the types of foods we eat, like the people here, they not going it. They don't. Their end goal is not to always eat KFC and McDonald's. Like they know that shit's bad, and they know better options. So that from a physical standpoint, like you're gonna have a better option physically with European women than American women, 10 times out of 10. Okay. Now from a mental standpoint, they're not like the women over here are not incentivized to work the system. Meaning, on the next level, meaning they're not. Okay, like the government does not give them an incentive just to have a baby. Like, see, in America, a woman can have a baby and then have a free apartment, free electricity, or pay $30 a month for an apartment, electricity paid for, cable, internet paid for, probably find a way to get a fucking car, get a free ride through school, and just because she had a baby. You see what I'm saying? Whereas here, like the people, they aren't incentivized in that same way. Like sure, like they'll get child support here, but they're not going to get it at a rate where like they can like completely live off that shit in most cases that I've seen. Like they're not that incentive to just strictly use a man as a tool and throw him away. It's not that same thing here because the country's not going to wipe. The country here is not going to wipe a woman's ass like it will in America. See, like this is the problem with American women too. Is like it's still sexism. Because they'll pretty much wipe a woman's ass in America. It's sexism, but women there they will not complain because the sexism will benefit them. So they're not going to complain about it. They only complain when the sexism, works against them in any kind of way they can delusionally come up with an idea with it. Whereas, like I said, in Europe, they're not going to wipe women's asses here. A woman has a kid, well, yeah, we'll hook you up with some child support, maybe like $10 a month, but you better get your ass out there and work again. Or get back with that baby daddy. You see, in America, no. In America, the government would just say, well, look, we'll just give you the money and we'll go hunt the baby daddy down later and put him in jail. And on top of that, we'll get enough to pay your rent every month at minimum. So, I mean, if you give any human that option, of course they're going to do it. They're going to take that option. See, so America's problem is it's still sexism. And see, like punk ass bitch made men, they're too afraid to come out and say it in the open. But I'll say it in the open. Okay, stop it. This is still sexism. The only difference is it's just benefiting the women. So the women are not going to complain about it. They will not complain about it. You see, it's still sexism. But those are key differences I've seen between the two, which is what turns them into completely different species of woman. Completely different species of woman, of their outlook on life, what they're doing, how they're going to act in public with you, all that shit. It's a completely different scenario. But yeah, that's gonna be the video, man. I'm out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and definitely comment and all that shit. And don't forget, like the Patreon, all that Patreon merchandise, book club, all that shit's on YouTube in my description. Let me do the description below, like other YouTubers do. And one more thing, man. This is just a side joke, rant. But do you motherfuckers find this shit annoying? Like, personally, I hate the YouTubers that go, hey guys, welcome to the channel, please leave a like and subscribe. Well, but I think those guys are fucking dorks. But anyway, that's the video, man. I'm out. Bye.
Okay, so thank you guys again for watching. Really appreciate it. Yeah, this is like my little cheesy outro to the video. Across the street, there's these excellent gelato places to get sushi, places to get burgers. It's over there to the left. You can't see it in this shot. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and I hope everything's going well, man. I hope everything's going well with you. Yeah, have a good day, man. I'll be back with another episode soon. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.